Welcome guys to Steady with Collins, and today our topic is costing and break-even analysis. So this video will focus more on the detailed explanation of the break-even or the graphical approach of break-even analysis, and that is the break-even chart. So this is what we call the break-even chart, and the break-even chart was invented by Walter Rauschenstruck, an industrial engineer and a professor of Columbia University in the 1930s. So this is a break-even chart and is a graphical representation of relationship between the various costs and sale revenue at a given time. And the break-even chart helps us to determine the break-even point. So we can see the break-even point from the break-even chart. And what is the break-even point? The break-even point is where the total cost line and the total sales revenue line meet. And this is the total cost line. And the total cost line consists of the fixed costs and the variable costs, and they make up the total cost line. And the sales revenue is the sales of products or goods. So that is the break-even point. So on the break-even chart, there are some key terms that we need to pay attention to, and the key terms are volume of output, sales revenue, variable cost, fixed cost, the total cost, break-even point, and margin of safety. Okay, so we can add the angle of incidence too. So talking about the volume of output, so the volume of output is the amount of products or goods being produced at a given time. That is the volume of what? The volume of output. So like output, so it could be 500,000, 10, 50. That is company trying to produce something. So volume of output. So producing 50. So it could be any figure. And also we have sale revenue, and sale revenue is the money realized from the production of goods. So after producing 50, you sell them. So sale revenue is the money that you get from selling your products. And also we have variable costs. So variable costs are the costs that change when the production output also change. Before I explain variable costs, let me first explain what fixed cost is. So fixed cost is not directly related to the volume of output. So with fixed cost, assuming you want to set up a business, with a business you would rent maybe a house. Let's use a house. I want to start a pure water business. Yes, I would rent a house, then buy a machine. They are all fixed costs, right? Because with a house, maybe I will rent it for 2 years, and it's not dependent on the number of sachet water I want to produce, regardless of the price tag on the house. So the rent is fixed, and electricity bill too is fixed, and also the machine is fixed, right? So this is fixed cost. But variable cost will depend on the amount of sachet water that I want to produce. So I would have to buy more rubber, assuming I want to produce 10 bags of water. So when it comes to the sachet, maybe I would buy 10 pieces, and that would cost me 10 Ghana cedis. So if I want to produce 20 or 200, I would have to buy more. So that becomes the sachet rubber becomes the variable cost, because it is changing as my production output is changing. But with a fixed cost, it remains the same regardless of my production. Yes, so that is fixed cost and variable cost. And also the total cost. So the total cost in this case is the addition or the combination of the fixed cost and the variable cost. So after setting up the business, renting, buying the machine, and producing, you want to know the amount of money that you've invested into the business, and that is the total cost. So it is the fixed cost, all fixed costs, the summation of all fixed costs and the variable cost. And the break-even point is where, as I said earlier, where the total cost line meets the total revenue line. That is the break-even point. If I'm to explain what break-even point is, like after saying the total cost line meets the total revenue line. What is break-even point actually? So break-even point is when you've sold an amount of products and you've realized that, okay, at this point I've not gained profit, and if I'm to stop my business or stop production too, there wouldn't be any loss. So you've break even. I hope you get me. Yeah, so break even point is when there is no profit and there is no loss. Also, margin of safety. So margin of safety is the distance between the break-even point and the output being produced at a particular variable cost line. So break-even point. So after you break even, if you decide to continue your production, then it means you are in the margin of safety. So from the break-even point to infinity, and I'm trying to explain this with words, and I would go back to the break-even charts and also explain all these. And we have the angle of incidence. But mind you, if the margin of safety, if the distance of the margin of safety is large, then your profit is going to be large as well. The larger the margin of safety, the larger the profit. So let me use this example. So as I said with the pure water, assuming I've sold 10 bags and after selling 100 bags, and after selling 100 bags of sachet water, I decide to go off production or stop production, and that is my break even. It means that there is no loss, there is no profit. But okay, if I proceed to produce 150, then it means I would have some profit, because exactly at 100 bags of sachet water I broke even. I don't know if that is correct. Yes, that was my break even point. But if I proceed to produce 150, then it means I would have some profit because of the 50 bags that has been added. So the more I produce, so the profit that I'll get from producing 200 will be more than the 150, and at the same time too, the profit I'll get from producing 500 bags will be more than the 150. So the larger the margin of safety, the larger the profit. So let's move on to the angle of incidence too. So with the angle of incidence is the angle at which the sales revenue cuts the total cost line. We can see from the chart. So I will show you on the chart. So the larger the angle of incidence, the larger the profits. And this is a bit graphical. So unless on the x-axis we have the volume of output. The volume of output is the amount of products you want to produce, right? It's the amount of products or the number of products. So using the pure water or the sachet water example, this maybe 10 will be here, 20 will be here, 30, 40, 50, 60. On the y-axis too, we would have the cost and sales revenue, right? That's the cost and sales revenue, and it's cost and sales revenue because the cost includes the fixed cost, and the fixed cost is the rent and the cost of machineries and cost of other, even labor costs. And sales revenue is the money realized from the sales of goods or the production from money realized from the production of goods. So let me explain the total cost line, and this is the total cost line. And the total cost line involves both fixed costs and variable costs. And fixed cost is, so as I demarcated on the x-axis as 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, here too we might have 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, then it moves on. So in this case, the fixed cost will be 300. Assuming the fixed cost is 300, and that is the cost of the machineries and the rent, or cost of machineries and rent will sum up to 300. So we are going to start our variable cost from here. We don't start from here, because before we will get our total cost, there must be a fixed cost, and the fixed cost will start from somewhere. It will start from zero and end at somewhere or a specific value, some value. And we are using 300 over here. So where our fixed costs end, that is where we start our variable cost, and the variable cost will go. So that will be number of rubber to buy for packaging our sachet water, and the fixed cost and the variable cost sums up to get a total cost, and this becomes the total cost line. So we can see from here that fixed cost and variable cost gives us the total cost. Okay, then we have total revenue, and we can see after producing, after the fixed cost, then the revenue, we have to make some sales. So we have to start selling them after buying the machines, renting, then after producing the water, we have to sell them. But we sell from zero, because like we start from zero. Before we sell them, we don't have any money, so we start from zero. That is why we start our total revenue line from x0, y0, then we draw directly proportional. And in this case, where the total revenue line meets the total cost line, there we have our break-even point. So we have the formula way of finding the break-even point, and this is the graphical way of finding the break-even point. So where they meet, that is where we get our break-even point. So assuming we demarcated here 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, then it means that our break-even point will be 50. So if we are able to produce 50 bags of sachet water, then we are going to break even. From our break-even chart assumption, if it was 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and our break-even point is on the 50, then it means that if we are able to sell 50 of our produced bags of sachet water, we are going to break even with the total costs. That is both the fixed cost and the variable cost. We are going to break even. So from this, we are going to talk about the margin of safety. So after finding the break-even point, we go ahead to find our margin of safety. So as I said, if we sell 50, we will break even. If we sell 60, it means we are in the profit region, right? So the margin of safety is from the break-even point to infinity, and it depends on the output, like the volume of output. So we break even at 50, and maybe we are producing 110 here. So your margin of safety is between 50 and 110. So you target sales. Your target sales should be between 51 and 110. At 50, you are going to break even. So in order to achieve profits, you must target 51 to 110, and that is our margin of what? Our margin of safety. So as I said, the larger the margin of safety, the larger the profits. So you can see that if we are selling 60, then it means that our margin of safety will be from here to here, and it's very small. It means our profits will be very tiny, right? So if we target at the same time, if we target 500, that is somewhere here, it means our margin of safety will be bigger, and the bigger the margin of safety, the bigger the profits. Let's move on to let me come back to the loss area. So if your break-even point is 50 and you sell 40 and you stop producing, it means you are, so if you sell above 50, then it means you are in the profit area too. So your total revenue line will affect the angle of incidence. This is the angle of incidence, and the larger the angle of incidence, the larger the profit as well, the larger the profit. So I hope every term on the break-even chart is well explained. Thank you for watching the video, and I hope you understand. Feel free to comment the parts that you didn't get me, and I'll be glad to respond. Thank you.